Fernanda sat by the window, the late afternoon light splashing gold over the pages of her journal. Today was the day she'd been both dreading and longing for. Today, she would face Juliana, not just as her best friend, her confidant, the other half of her soul, but as the woman she was deeply, irrevocably in love with. The weeks since their last confrontation had been agonizingly silent. What started as a tentative, questioning kiss had blossomed into something so powerful, so real, that neither of them could deny it. But fear, that raw, terrifying vulnerability, had yanked them apart. Fernanda had retreated into herself, pouring her heart, her regrets, and her unspoken desires into the pages of her notebook. She was afraid to speak, terrified of shattering the beautiful, perfect friendship they had built over a lifetime. Now, standing outside Juliana's apartment, her hand trembled as she turned the key. The air inside felt heavy, thick with all the words they hadn't said, all the feelings they'd buried. Juliana was there, leaning against the kitchen counter, her arms crossed in a guarded posture. But her eyes were soft, yet wary. She looked like she'd been waiting, maybe even hoping, that Fernanda would be the one to break the silence. "Hey," Fernanda whispered, her voice catching in her throat, betraying the storm of emotions raging inside her. Juliana simply nodded, a silent acknowledgement that this moment was inevitable. Fernanda took a hesitant step forward, closing a fraction of the distance between them. "I've been thinking," she began, her voice gaining a little strength. "A lot, about us, about what happened." She paused, her heart hammering against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the quiet room. "And I've realized, I don't want things to go back to how they were. I don't want to be just friends." The tension in Juliana's shoulders seemed to ease, just a little. Her eyes softened, and she tucked a loose strand of dark hair behind her ear, a familiar, nervous gesture that Fernanda knew so well. "Neither do I," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper. "But I was scared, Effie. I was so scared. Everything changed so fast." Fernanda nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. "I know. And I pushed you. When I kissed you, I leaned on our friendship. I used it as a safety net. But I didn't stop to think about how much you might need time to process it all." She took another step, the space between them now so small she could feel the warmth radiating from Juliana's body. "But I can't hide anymore, Ju. I don't want to be silent. Not about this. Not about you." Juliana's breath hitched. Her gaze, which had been flickering around the room, now fixed on Fernanda's lips, then darted back to her eyes. For a heart-stopping moment, time seemed to slow down. The entire world outside that apartment, the past, the friend zone, the fear, it all just faded away, leaving only the two of them in this bubble of intense, unspoken connection. Finally, breaking the spell, Juliana reached out. Her hand trembled slightly as she cupped Fernanda's cheek, her touch gentle, questioning. "You don't have to hide, Fernanda," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "I've been scared too. I've been hurting, trying to protect us, trying to protect what we have. But maybe I was just protecting myself from getting hurt." Fernanda closed her eyes, instinctively leaning into the warmth of Juliana's touch. "It felt like coming home. I want to be more than your best friend," she murmured, the words tumbling out, full of a longing she'd held back for years. "I love you, Juliana. Not the safe, easy, friendship kind of love, but the other kind, the scary kind, the everything kind." Juliana's beautiful eyes glistened with unshed tears, but a radiant smile broke through. And then, she did something incredibly brave. She leaned in and pulled Fernanda into a gentle, slow kiss. It was tentative at first, two hearts cautiously testing the waters, exploring this new, uncharted territory. It was a question and an answer all at once. Then Juliana deepened the kiss, her arms wrapping around Fernanda's waist, pulling her in so close there was no space left between them. Fernanda melted into the embrace, her fingers tangling in Juliana's soft hair, a wave of relief and pure joy washing over her. Her heart was pounding so loudly, she was sure the whole world could hear it, a triumphant, joyous rhythm. The warmth between them grew, becoming electric, fierce, a current of longing and relief that had finally found its release. When they finally broke apart, breathless, they rested their foreheads together, breathing in sync, sharing the same air. Juliana whispered, her voice shaky but clear, "I'm sorry for running away. I was so scared of losing what we already had." Fernanda pressed her lips lightly to Juliana's temple, a gesture of pure affection. "I would never want to lose that either. But I want more, Juliana. I want us They stood in a comfortable silence for a moment, the weight of years of friendship and hidden desire still present, but now it was balanced by a new, brilliant kind of hope. Juliana pulled back just enough to search Fernanda's eyes, her own gaze steady and sure. "Okay," she said, her voice firm. "Let's try. Let's be more." A dazzling, relieved smile lit up Fernanda's face. She gently brushed her thumb across Juliana's lips, tracing the smile she had just put there. "Together." Juliana nodded, her eyes shining with happiness. Together, they kissed again, softer this time, more confident. It wasn't a kiss of desperation or uncertainty anymore. It was a promise, a claim they were staking on each other's hearts. And in that moment, there were no more fears, only the endless promise of what was to come. After a while, they separated, but their hands remained intertwined, a physical link they were both unwilling to break. They moved to the couch, their movements fluid and natural, as if they'd done this 1,000 times. Fernanda reached for the journal she'd brought with her, the one that held all her secret thoughts. She opened it to a fresh new page. She wrote a single, powerful line, then paused, looking up at Juliana, her eyes full of love. "I love you," she said, the words feeling more real, more solid than ever before. Juliana smiled, that heart-stopping smile that always made Fernanda's breath catch. She leaned in, pressing her forehead to Fernanda's one more time. "I love you too." They sat there, side by side, Juliana leaning her head gently onto Fernanda's shoulder. It felt so natural, so perfectly right. It felt safe. Fernanda closed her journal and set it aside. The story wasn't just in those pages anymore. It was here, in this room, in this moment. Their future wasn't written in stone. They knew there would be challenges, misunderstandings, and new fears to face. But they had crossed a threshold. They were no longer just best friends hiding from their feelings. They were something new, something deeper, something more. And as the sun dipped lower, casting long, warm shadows across the room, Fernanda and Juliana embraced again. Their kiss was soft and warm, sealing a promise that had taken a lifetime to finally speak out loud. A promise of a future, built together. You know, an incredible 98% of you watching right now aren't subscribed. That's a huge number. If you enjoyed this story and want to be part of our community, hitting that subscribe button makes a massive difference. It tells us you want more content like this and helps our channel grow. Thank you so much for watching and for all your support. We'll see you in the next video.